Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars action figure review. Today we're taking a look at another Black Series 6-inch figure, and this one comes to us from the Gaming Great subline of the Black Series. This is of course Jedi Knight Revan, a highly anticipated although pleasantly surprising action figure. This one was kind of just thrown upon us as an exclusive sort of reveal a few months ago. No one really expected it, no one really asked for it, but here it is. It's a great figure right off the bat, and I'm really glad that I was able to add this one to my collection. As I mentioned, it has been available for a couple of months now, so I'm a little bit late to the party on this one. I unfortunately missed out on its original release, but thanks to the guys at staractionfigures.co.uk who recently found a small stash of these hiding out in their warehouse, I was able to pick one up. So if you want to add one of these figures to your own collection, as always, there will be a link provided down below in the video description. I can't promise at the time of recording whether or not this one will still be in stock. At the time of filming, it is, but as I mentioned, it's a very popular figure and one that is likely not to hang around for very long, so grab it while you can. It is in many ways a repaint and a kit bash of the previously released Darth Revan figure from the Black Series, and we'll get onto some of the differences and similarities between those two figures later on in the review. But before we jump into the video itself and the review of the figure, let's take a look at the packaging that he comes in. Now, one of the things that I really like about the Black Series Gaming Great subline is the packaging. As you can see, it has a different sort of look to it. Rather than the black and red colour scheme that we've seen throughout the Black Series for the past few years, we've got this nice shake up in terms of the colour. As you can see, the backdrop of the figure itself is a nice purple colour. The box itself has a very matte black finish to it, with the Black Series logo featured at the top in a gloss finish. The same can be said for the Gaming Greats call out there in the top corner. Down in the bottom you've got Jedi Knight Revan, and of course an image there beautifully illustrated by Gregory Titus, and you've got these really nice accents on that illustration that just really make this one stand out. One thing that did surprise me about this figure is the fact that Hasbro have decided to release it as part of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes mobile RPG game, as opposed to Knights of the Old Republic. Now, I'm not overly familiar with either of these games, Knights of the Old Republic or Galaxy of Heroes. The character designs of some of the figures and characters from the Knights of the Old Republic have always interested me, but I'm not overly familiar with the story, so I'm not entirely sure how Jedi Knight Revan fits into the Legends timeline, whether or not he will eventually become canon. I'm not entirely sure. I do know that there's obviously the Sith and Jedi aspect of the character, and the fact that he is a fallen Jedi who eventually becomes redeemed, but I'm not entirely sure how that plays into the Galaxy of Heroes game. As far as I'm aware, it's just an exclusive skin that you can download as a playable character, but again, maybe mistaken on that. I'm not a massive gamer, but Revan is a very interesting character design, and that's my main reasoning for picking up this figure. Down the side of the box, you'll see you've got a nice purple accent once again, Jedi Knight Revan's name and that Gaming Greats call out once again. Obviously, he's not a numbered figure in the line. He is indeed an exclusive. I'm pretty sure in the US these are exclusive to GameStop stores. In Canada, I believe EB Games and various other exclusive retailers throughout the world. And then on the back of the box, as you can see, you've got an image of Revan once again and a brief description of the character. So really nice packaging for this one. I was very hesitant to open this one up because I really like the way that it looks in the packaging, but the bonus of these Black Series figures is the fact that you can open up the box, take the figure out, and then place it back inside the packaging if you want to keep it in its packaging, in its box. So that's really good. So with packaging aside, let's take a look at Jedi Knight Revan, and here he is. A very, very cool figure indeed. I really love the look of this one. As I mentioned, Darth Revan and some of the other characters from Knights of the Old Republic have always interested me in terms of character design. I'm not overly familiar with their stories, but as a figure that stands on a shelf as part of a display, this guy looks phenomenal. What I really like about this one is the fact that it almost looks like a Jedi Temple Guard from the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels animated series. It's a very, very cool figure. It's got this really ancient look to it. Wouldn't look out of place in the High Republic era that we're about to see come out of Lucasfilm in terms of new comics and books and all that sort of stuff. It's got this very regal, almost samurai warrior look and design to it, which I just really, really like. Obviously, you've got these really nice beige robes. You've got these brown highlights on the armor. You've got all these ornate golden details, all these hooks on the belt, which I'm assuming are for lightsaber hilts. Again, I may be mistaken on that. I'm not familiar with what Revan's role is in either the Knights of the Old Republic or in Galaxy of Heroes, but I'm assuming that's what they're for. Again, very ornately decorated, really nice in terms of appearance. This one just looks really, really cool, and even though I also have the Sith Lord version of Darth Revan from the Black Series, this one is definitely my favourite. I just love the design of this figure, love the design of the character, and again, I'm really, really happy that I was able to pick this guy up. Now, in terms of articulation, we'll touch base on that first. He does come with quite a bit. However, because he's somewhat of a repaint of an older Black Series figure, he is a little bit limited in terms of what he can do. There is a ball joint at the head, although the hood and sort of robe around the hood and the neck of the figure is one solid sculpted piece, so that doesn't allow for a great deal of movement in the head itself. You know, you've kind of got to move it around inside the hood, and it's just a little bit tricky and a little bit difficult to do. So that's a little bit of a shame. Would be really cool to see what Revan looks like without all this hooded garment going on. In terms of the rest of the figure, we've got hinges at the shoulders, hinges at the elbows, hinges at the wrists, a nice fluid ball joint at the torso, hinges at the hips, although this soft goods robe does limit some of that articulation. Could have done with a cut down the side, in my opinion. Underneath that, if we lift the robe up, we do have a swivel at the upper thigh, a double joint in the knee, and the standard hinge and rocker at the ankle. Again, you'll see some of that ornate detailing does continue into the boots that are found underneath the robes. And then you've got this really nice look to the armor and the rest of the outfit underneath there. As you can see, this looks really, really nice. The paint finish that Hasbro have given to this figure really brings out those details a little bit more than they did on the Sith Lord version of Revan. His mask is really nicely painted as well. You've got golden gauntlets. Just a really nice overall look to this figure. He just looks absolutely phenomenal. In terms of accessories, he just comes with the one, as opposed to the two lightsabers that the Sith Lord version of Revan came with. It just comes with a standard saber. As you can see, really nicely sculpted hilt, very unique to the character. And you've got this really strong purple blade coming out of that hilt. It is removable, and it's a slightly thicker blade than the initial release, which is good as well. Really nice to see Hasbro adding that little bit of extra stability to their lightsabers recently. So again, without going into too much detail about the character, that just about covers it for this figure. Again, he looks phenomenal, looks great as part of a display, and if you have picked up that initial release of Darth Revan from the Black Series, this figure is going to complement him really, really well. And for the sake of a brief comparison, here he is side by side. Darth Revan is a figure that I didn't get around to reviewing when I first picked him up. I do have one loose and one in the box, so maybe that's a review I might get around to at some point in the future. But as you can see, there are some very similar aspects to each figure, but some slight differences as well. Obviously the main difference is, of course, the colour of the outfits, but as you'll see from the robes on Darth Revan, his are very tatty, very worn, and Jedi Knight Revans are a lot more regal and neat in terms of their appearance. Darth Revan also features a cape, again very tatty, battle damaged and worn, whereas Jedi Knight Revan doesn't actually come with the cape. But they're both fantastic figures for different reasons. Both feature the same articulation. I think in terms of overall palette and decoration, Jedi Knight Revan definitely takes the win here. A fantastic figure for sure. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I will be back with some more figure reviews very soon. I've got some fantastic figures to give you a look at from the Black Series, Power of the Force 2. We are going to be going back in time with some future videos, and some vintage collection stuff as well. So make sure you stay tuned for all of those. And until next time, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.